turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. It's my own design. It's my own remorse. Help me to decide.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am Josh, that is Jason, that's Junson over there. This is the Redpill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And this is where we talk about everything geopolitical, geofinancial. We talk about the news and the media that happened today. And if you haven't realized, not much has been happening. I mean, we had Joe Biden today come out and talk some very monotone, sad, depressing things about how America is going to get better and you might just be able to celebrate freedom by July 4th. And he didn't blunder his words, although it was heavily edited. But I'm staying the course. I'm telling you the 25th Amendment is coming. It's being set up. We did have some radical legislation passed today in the House and another piece of radical legislation passed in the Senate. So for those that don't know, the gun bill, basically the registering of firearms, the background check to buy ammunition, that just passed the House today, is now being sent to the Senate, as well as Senator Feinstein, who many months ago was in hot water and was being forced to resign, who's still there, passed an assault weapon ban, as well as, by the way, not assault weapon ban, a rifle that looks like an assault ban, and a magazine capacity ban. So we all know that certain people said that once they come for the guns, that's it. And, well, buckle up, Charlie. Looks like they're coming for the guns. Now, I'm hoping that the senators... Oh, by the way, 7 Republicans joined them in the House of Representatives that passed that gun bill. 7 Republicans who will not be reelected. Well, maybe they will be because we have a farce of a system. But hopefully the Senate comes to their senses and does not be stupid on this one. But I have a feeling that it's going to pass the Senate. And you're going to have a very interesting spring. Very, very interesting spring. And that, I believe, will set off a cascade of events which will lead to what we know of as a cataclysmic financial collapse. One of the reasons why we got Junson here tonight to talk about what's happening in the financial markets, what's crypto and the securities and what's happening there. And we were kind of just talking before all this, and we were getting into some speculation, and it was a good conversation. I think we're going to continue on that. Junson, how you been, bud?
Been very, very good. It's been a while since I actually was on here. I think it's been like, what, a month?
Yeah, about a month and a half there, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. But that's an interesting, because I didn't know about the gun thing, but could it cause a financial collapse? I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to get really mad about the guns being stolen, but, I mean, we have a lockdown, we have the stupid masks, and they just stole the election. So, I mean, yeah, they're going to go for the guns because they think they can do it. Right? Yep. I mean, who can blame the elites? I mean, they got away with literally everything else so
That's
far.
Right. So, here's the thing is why it would create a financial collapse.
Yeah,
is right now the financial... So I like to look at narratives. I look to see how narratives are being set up over long periods of time. We have what we were just talking about. We have radical spending.
Right.
We have a highly inflated debt bubble. We have the yield curve, which we were just talking about, the 10-year yield curve.
Yeah.
All the signs of a pending financial collapse. Now, we could say that this is 6 months, 12 months, a year down the road. The U.S. debt just hit $28 trillion. $28 trillion.
That's going to go up by a lot more.
That's going to go up by a lot more. Now, Junson, I want you to see how this scenario works out. We went through this whole political disclosure for about 4 years of Donald Trump, of seeing how the media and the politics actually are organized and how they actually work, and in the sense that they have a system for them, a just us system, and not a justice system for you, right? So a different system for them and for us. And we got shown this as clear as day with the last election. Now, the next thing that we started seeing is this financial disclosure. Wall Street Bets has basically a mechanism for JP Morgan, for BlackRock, manipulating the market through retail investors to do that, to basically take out their competition, to start shedding off all their competition on the left and the right sides. And this hasn't stopped. It's progressed since then. Still, today, we're still seeing it. But this is what I want you to see, is during a color revolution, what happens is the next part is you destabilize the local areas, okay? And so one of the ways that they destabilize this is by basically getting the people pissed off to the point where they start protesting and getting angry within their local levels. So the next thing that's going to happen is that people are going to call for their states to basically go against the federal government with all these gun laws and so forth that are coming about, right?
Yeah, but that would only affect more right-wing states, really, because liberal states probably support the gun ban stuff.
That's right, but there's people in those liberal states that probably don't.
Right, of course.
Colorado being one of them. It's about 49-51 here in the sense of the balance.
Okay. That's actually, that's basically 50-50.
Yeah. So you're going to see massive uprising in the sense of protesting and political activism if this bill does get passed. Now, what does that do? People start collaborating back in groups. The rise of COVID starts to spike again.
Right.
And they initiate medical lockdowns.
Uh-huh.
All these things all over again. Now, on a hypothetical basis in the narrative that's being set, if COVID lockdowns happen again, what happens to businesses?
Yeah, small businesses, whatever's left will probably go bankrupt.
That's right. They get shut down. People get shut down. People can't go out and spend. Most likely FEMA involvement this time around, because you got to remember, they got to get in and get the guns. They got to declare gun owners as radicals and not acting in the best interest of themselves, mentally ill. They won't take the vaccine, these types of things. And so what you're going to have is you're going to have the financial collapse occur during the uprising or the resurgence of this COVID or of a pandemic due to the right people on the right, the conservatives, being angry about a gun bill. See how they put that system of blame in place, and they kind of organize this and orchestrate it in this manner to where it's the right wing's side, it's the conservatives' fault that the pandemic came back, that the economy collapsed. They can blame that all back on Trump.
Yeah. In fact, they're kind of setting that up with Texas, right? Because they said Texas isn't following the mask mandates and lockdown stuff anymore and all that.
Yep.
I forgot the other state. I think it was Mississippi. So yeah, they're just playing conservatives for everything like they always do.
And you know, one of the biggest indicators, I think, of all this is twofold. Number one is we had the manipulation in the crypto markets, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But number two is we have the continuing manipulation in the silver and the gold markets and the precious metal markets.
Yep.
And this is incredibly, people need to take notice of this. I called this back in January. I said, if you like gas prices now, you better love them coming in about 2 months because they're going to skyrocket.
Oh yeah, crude's already being manipulated upward.
Crude is going to be $99 to $103 a barrel very, very, very shortly. I think it was the last time you were on we were talking about this. I said, if you want to, you should go out and take some oil futures on crude.
How come I don't remember that?
But so think about this. Is right now, last month, it cost me about $39 to fill my tank up. Now it just cost me $64.
Holy crap.
Yes.
It's
coming.
You're paying twice that pretty soon then.
Gas is it's $2.54 a gallon right now.
Well, I don't drive, so I wouldn't know.
But so think about this. Now we have Gas prices on the rise. That's one of your first indicators right there. We have basically the U.S. energy industry being shut down. Okay?
Yeah.
So-
On purpose, by the way, to spike crude oil prices, by the way.
That's right. Market manipulation. Precious metals are being suppressed.
Yep.
So here's the thing, is if the market was running naturally the way it would be, you would see all the money flowing into the demand of silver, gold, and precious metals. And you see them start to increase, and then the bond, not the bond yield, but the interest rates would have to have an emergency FOMC meeting, and they would have to basically lower interest rates. Or sorry, increase interest rates.
Increase, yeah.
Yeah, the hedge inflation. But you're not seeing it. Instead, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, the reason why they're doing so the reason why it's critical to shut down the economy is to prevent that inflation from happening. That's why this is what Greg Manarino talks about.
Right.
That's why every time you see for example today new unemployment numbers and they spin it to make it sound good, but the point is
horrible.
The whole economy is just dying because more and more people are out of work.
That's right. They're
And
horrible
if they're
numbers,
out
by
of
the way.
work, they don't have money, and if they don't have money, they can't buy anything. If they can't buy as much, well, guess what? The prices don't increase because there's no quote-unquote demand.
Yep, the European Central Bank just yesterday declared that they're going to print $9 trillion of new money.
9
Or
trillion.
900 billion, I think it was. Something like $900 billion of new money into circulation. So this is a printing frenzy. The actual article said a printing frenzy for the European Central Banks. Now, let me ask you this. Why? Why would you increase the printing of money during a time of high inflation when everything surrounding, all the indicators surrounding inflation are being suppressed? That's like blowing into a balloon and nobody's saying, hey, I think the balloon's going to pop. Oh, look over here. The balloon's empty. The balloon's empty.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're trying to distract you from the fact that they're hyperinflating the stock
There you
markets
go.
and cryptocurrencies and pretty much anything. Oh, and crude oil and pretty much anything that's considered an asset or commodity or security.
Now ask yourself why companies are slowly taking their reserve, their cash on hand, and moving it into Bitcoin.
All right, and this is what we were talking about before we had to go live.
So the whole thing hedges on China. You have to well, how about this? Why was the election lost?
Because they rigged it.
Who did? Deep State
Combination
China,
of
right?
Deep State and China?
Yeah, China. Okay, so who's had massive economic impact the last 4 years under Trump?
Oh yeah, China. Oh yeah, China might still be mauled at Trump over the tariffs and all that stuff.
Correct. There's a lot of reasons why. But one thing is China suspended the sale of digital currencies for a very, very long time. They've been developing the digital yuan, which is right now in a
Test pilot phase.
Okay?
Yeah. Which was very successful so far, their previous tests. So
That's right. Now let me ask you this, and I asked you this before, is what is the digital yuan going to be backed upon? What is
and you said it would be Bitcoin, which surprised me.
Well, think about what just happened 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, you mean when Bitcoin was cratering in a correction, or the other way?
So Bitcoin was being massively suppressed to stay under 50,000. And if you listen to Cryptos R Us, is another YouTube channel, George over there, he discovered that F2 Pool had massive outputs of Bitcoin hours prior, moving to the exchange hours prior to the big drops in Bitcoin. And it was originally thought that it had something to do with the futures contracts. But then it was found out from an insider at the F2 Pool that the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government, was trying to seize the Bitcoin at F2 Pool. F2 Pool has been selling off to try to move out of China. Now, why would China be trying to seize Bitcoin?
Right, and that's when you said they want to back their yuan by Bitcoin.
That's right. They're gonna utilize it as a world reserve currency for the yuan. Now, why? Well, think about this. This has been speculated and talked about for a long time already. The dollar is losing its footing. Right now, the dollar is hyperinflated. All it needs is that bubble to pop at the same time that the Chinese digital yuan is introduced, And it all fits into place.
Oh yeah, because China wants to dethrone the dollar and make themselves the king reserve currency of the world.
Now, let me ask you this. Oil is at the same time going up. I told you to watch that, right?
Yeah.
What's the reserve currency for oil?
Oh yeah, the U.S. dollar. That's what's called the petrodollar.
So when the dollar hyperinflates during this time and crashes, what's going to happen to oil?
Well,
$105, $120 a barrel.
Yeah, if the dollar goes down, crude oil goes up.
That's right. Which means that the world is going to be basically paralyzed. Flight tickets are going to be $5,000. Fill up your tank of gas is going to be $60, $70, $80. People are going to be crying and screaming. And then China, they're going to make a world global move, probably coming out of the World Economic Forum saying, well, why don't we just move to the digital yuan? It's a more secure currency. It's backed upon Bitcoin, which is this new world reserve currency.
Yeah.
It'll all transition right there.
Yeah, I bet a lot of countries would like to get out of the dollar too. So China wouldn't be alone.
Yep.
Because I did not know that China was trying to seize F2 Pool's Bitcoin.
So
that's pretty funny.
we call this a firestorm. It's basically when you want to hit your enemy on all sides at the same time. So you want to hit the grid, the infrastructure, the the political, the financial. Everything needs to hit all at the same time. Because it doesn't matter how big their military are or what their military is if you hit their country with all these social issues all at the same time, you paralyze them. And so what they'll do is they'll force the color revolution on the local levels to basically an uprising where they destabilize every single state and local community, or at least the majority of them. The states will try to take it to the federal government. At the same time, the collapse of the dollar would come about. If the collapse of the dollar comes, oh, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, but the Fed right now is on a spending freeze. They are not loaning any more money for a 90-day period.
I hear about that. I just know they're gonna try to buy bonds and stuff.
Right, but so that means that they will not make any new loans or print any new money to the U.S. federal government or else. Now, if the dollar collapses within this time, the United States federal government, what happens?
And they just passed that 1.9 trillion bill, so they're gonna need money.
They're gonna need money. So if this happens and the dollar collapses, the economy collapses, they're going to need money. The Fed's not giving it to them. The government has to shut down.
Why would the people in charge want to shut down their own government if they're in control of everything?
Because it's a coup. You got to remember, we're trying to usher in a world government. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah.
Now, something that's interesting that's happening next week is top Biden officials are meeting in Alaska to discuss the range issues with China next week. So guess who's there meeting in Alaska? It's going to be Antony Blinken.
Yep, Secretary of State.
And Jake Sullivan. Now, if you know anything about Blinken, Blinken is a founder of Pine Island Capital Partners, right? That's what they have investments in. One, COVID, two, aerospace, and they are highly invested into this administration. I think the ex-CEO of Pine Island is also on the Biden administration. So a deal is being brokered in other words, a deal is being brokered in Alaska next week. Plain and simple. That's the way to put it.
Well,
so the question is,
Alaska to do? Why not just
it's a great question. Why in Alaska?
What's in Alaska?
Oil?
OIL. Oil. Yeah.
Well, what else?
Oil.
Isn't HARP is there too?
Well, there's secret programs, but also what is on the what's just north of there, or north south of there? Russia,
Japan. Asia, I guess China. You take a little extra couple hours for the
but
boat
it
ride.
probably has something to do with selling off of U.S. oil reserves to China. Because what did I just say was going to happen? Is when the digital yuan is introduced, the dollar collapses, oil goes to what?
Up.
Up. So if China buys oil right now at $34 a barrel from the U.S. reserves and has a contract with them. This is like Southwest Airlines in the 1990s, predicting the futures market by buying $5 barrels of Brent crude.
I was in junior high school or high school during that time.
That's how they were able to basically wipe out all their competition, because gas went up to $92 a barrel when Bush invaded Iraq.
Right.
And they had bought gas at like $20 a barrel for 5 years.
Oh wow! Yeah. So I guess they took all the oil, I guess.
Yeah. So the future contracts is basically they had to sell those barrels of oil to them at $20 a barrel. And they have their own refinery.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they basically dominated. That's how Southwest Airlines was built.
Yeah.
Now, that's what China's going to do here, is that's why they're probably meeting up there. They're going to probably negotiate or talk about a deal to buy out the oil.
Get this.
Yeah.
Get this.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. And that's because
Blinken's got a trip to Tokyo and Seoul next week before he meets with China. There it is, man. He's going to Japan. He's going to Korea. There it is. I mean, you can't have it any better. Then he's coming back, and then they're going to share notes about what they talked about on foreign policies.
Assuming Quayle is real, are they really going to wait until this all plays out before making their move?
Well,
I
here's
guess
the
that
deal.
would make sense, because they could just come out and say, hey, you know, all this economic turmoil and all your guns being seized? Yeah, this was all China's fault. So we're going to take over and overthrow the government.
Well, here's the deal. The question is this the deal? Is this the violation of Trump's executive order?
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, it's already been violated and still is in the process of being violated. So
100%.
Yeah.
Because I can definitely tell you, from my point, from what I already know so far, the dollar is definitely going to go down in value in the next few months. You know, I figure it'll just be quote unquote the usual normal market forces, but it's definitely going to go down. So that could line up with what you're saying so far. But it's still going to take some time, because the dollar just had a pretty strong rally upwards. So now it definitely needs to pull back and go down a bit. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
What is going on with DLive? I just noticed that like our chat is working on DLive, but our stream is not. 1 second, guys. Let me try to fix this for all the DLive guys out there.
Oh, okay.
Just says sending data. I'm gonna go ahead and close it, open it back up. They probably suspended me. I wouldn't doubt it.
I don't really doubt that. I mean, they're already pretty desperate for content creators, I think.
There it is. Online now. There it is. Now it's working. Okay. For those of you on DLive, it should be working now. My apologies on that. I didn't know it was down, so. But should be online now. And how do you like Trovo? Oh, sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
Now, did Pompeo warn us about the China's plan with the Arctic too? I think he did.
What was China's plan with the Arctic?
I don't remember any of that. But yeah, I'm loving Trovo so far. The only thing that I don't like about it, well, Josh or Jason gets the thing. Yeah, sometimes the chat doesn't work properly, but it's like a specific problem with my computer. Like it just doesn't show.
Do you use Restream?
I know of it, but I currently don't use it.
I just use Restream and then cook up the Restream bot. That's what we utilize, and it's pretty awesome. It does the job. It integrates all of our chats, takes care of everything. So anybody who comments on YouTube channel, that's put on DLive, Twitch, Facebook.
Oh, yeah. I used to use it before, but I'm not willing to pay the, I don't know what their subscription fee is if you need to use like a custom RMTP, I think, or whatever it is. Because Trovo's not part of the main offerings for them.
Yeah, man. 2019, man. Pompeo warns of China-Russian actions in the Arctic. So interestingly enough,
Second, Jay.
Pompeo had urged other members of the council to watch Russian military expansion in the Arctic, noting that the country claims to have built 475 military sites north of the Arctic Circle. But Russia is unique, Pompeo said. Its actions deserve special attention of this council, in part because of their sheer scale, but also because we know Russian territorial ambitions can turn violent. There it is. It's fucking right there, man.
Well, Putin doesn't want to invade America, so
yeah. And Pompeo also said that China invested $90 billion in the Arctic from 2012 to 2017 could enable the country to beef up its military presence in the region, and that would allow for the Asian powerhouses done in other parts of the world, such as the South China Sea. I mean, it's all black and white. Fucking Biden's probably signing off on letting them move right into Alaska. Go ahead.
Oh, that makes sense.
Sorry, he had a kiddo emergency. So
yeah.
No, Jay, what was that you were saying?
Pompeo said that China spent $90 billion in investments in the Arctic from 2012 to 2017 and could enable the country to beef up its military presence in the region, a move that would follow what the Asian power has done in the other parts of the world, such as the South China Sea. I mean, you got, and Russia has put 475 military sites near the Arctic Circle. So obviously there's something really important in the Arctic that somebody
Does
wants.
that mean that the entrance to Hollow Earth is in the Arctic?
I don't know what Hollow Earth is.
Hollow Earth theory. Well, they always said it was in Antarctica. It's like there was an entrance. Admiral Byrd back in the 1940s went and did an excursion down to Antarctica. And it said that he found an entrance into the center of the Earth. It's very well documented, actually. It's a really cool conspiracy theory to look into because it's actually documented. And he actually talked about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I assume he was met with a lot of crazy accusations at the time.
He was afterwards.
Afterwards.
But yeah, that's maybe we should do a show on that one of these nights. Maybe one of these Fridays we'll do a show on that. But all right, so we have military buildup in the Arctic. Chinese basically wanting to control the Arctic.
Mm.
Now, I just saw someone, they said, oh, it sounds to me like we're all screwed, right? And, listen, if you have foresight of what's happening, if you know what's coming, tell me how you're screwed.
I didn't say that.
No, I don't think it is at all. If you can see what's coming, then other people can see what's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it becomes obvious. And see, that's the thing with these people is they show you the narrative as it's unraveling. They show you exactly what they're going to do. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Now, here's the question. Let's hypothetically say that the Chinese yuan comes out there, they back upon Bitcoin, oil prices skyrocket, the dollar collapses, the economy in the United States, the stock markets, everything collapses. What do you do?
Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you do if you're who, though?
If you're just one of our people out there listening, if you're just an average Joe, what do you do with your 401k? What do you do with your IRA?
Well, that's basically screwed, but, I mean...
Temporarily. If you
get
own
out
shit...
early, you can buy puts on the market.
Well, how about that?
The market.
Let's think about this. Let's say that you didn't do any preparation, okay?
Hmm.
Let's say that this financial collapse happens. You didn't do any preparation. Your 401k goes to $200,000 to $10,000.
Yeah.
You have an 85% collapse. What do? Do you sell off?
No.
You just hold on. Just hold on.
Go.
It'll rebound. It's just a rebounding of a debt cycle, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be very painful.
It's going to be about
Certainly
8 years,
some
but
companies
it will
bankrupt.
rebound.
Yeah.
Right? And so in the meantime, what you do is you have an income, and you take that income and you begin to buy back in at very, very lower price points, which means that when it does rebound, you're going to be way more wealthier than you were before.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's like a great strategy.
Yeah.
Now-
Buy low. Buy the bottom. You're not buying the dip. You're buying the bottom.
I'd buy the dip in the bottom, dollar cost averaging. But then ask yourself this, is if we know that this is coming, how do you hedge against it now? Now, we know, Junson, you and I, that they can't suppress gold and precious metal and silver prices forever. The reason they're doing it is because they're waiting for this event. Okay, I call it the event, right? The singularity. When it does happen, you're gonna have kind of like holding a spring. If you're just pushing a string back and back and back and back, eventually all that tension is gonna explode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that the explosion within the precious metal markets is going to skyrocket. You'll probably see $12,000 gold and $1,200 silver, maybe even more.
Yeah. I hope so.
Right?
I've got some silver clankers.
But is that going to be a sustainable price point? No. That's going to be a big flash up and a slow decline back as the economy stabilizes back to normal market prices.
Yeah. It's going to be like Bitcoin, except slower.
That's right.
Like what it did in 2017.
So when that does happen, what do you do with your gold and silver assets?
Well, you're also going to try to sell it when it's kind of up there, right?
You want to sell it when it's up there, but what are you going to sell it for? Dollars that just collapsed? That's hyperinflated?
Believe it or not, I'm actually willing to do that. For others, I guess you'll buy cryptocurrency. That might actually not be a bad.
You can sell gold and silver right now to AppMex for Bitcoin.
Wait, AppMex is giving you Bitcoin now?
AppMex, you can sell your cryptocurrency to AppMex, and I believe they'll give you Bitcoin because they take it in exchange.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know I put a tweet out, but I don't know if I can tell you specifically. But yeah, I bought 50 ounces of silver from AppMex like a few weeks ago. I think.
Decent prices, huh?
Yeah, I mean the premium still kind of stinks, but that's because the demand's very high for silver.
Yeah.
So, but I paid like at the time $32 an ounce after the premium plus the taxes.
What have you done today to earn your place in this crowded world? I love it. That's from the TV show on Amazon Prime called what was the name of that show, Jay? I'm drawing a blank.
How can we not think of that? You had to ask. The White Rabbit.
Yeah, the White Rabbit. It's Junson. If you haven't checked it out, it's on Amazon Prime. You got to check it out. Utopia. They only made one season. It's called Utopia.
Yeah.
And what have you done today to earn your spot in this crowded world?
Really?
And it's a good. It shows you a lot of what's kind of happening, what these globalists are doing. Now, talking to our good friend Ben Stewart here of the show, he says that the World Economic Forum, the world elite, what they're trying to do is move everybody into centralized smart cities where they basically are going to make nature off limits. Now, you're seeing this in the sense where Bill Gates is going out buying 250 million acres of farmland that's all running streamlined with water. Water will soon be a commodity, so if you know any companies that are in the water purification, water filtration, or even water storage, those are the ones to invest in today. And then also you have, his fake meat. Because...
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, I've been calling it for a while, Junson, and I think that I might be spot on this, is that the resurgence of the next pandemic that happens is going to come from the cows and the pigs and the chickens. And it's going to force them...
Just blame them for it.
Yep, they're going to blame them for it, and they're going to slaughter all the livestock, which means that the only meat alternative that's going to be on the market is... Ding, 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 ding.
Crap.
The fake crap, which is most likely human meat, in my opinion.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Quayle needs to make their move, hopefully way sooner before that happens.
Yeah.
In case we're moving on, I do want to say that one way you could actually start shorting the market now, I was actually spending my time right before coming online, is actually shorting the U.S. bond market. So I was actually trying to find out stocks for that, because Gregory Mannarino did mention, like, in one post what you could buy for that, and I found it again. It's actually called TBF and TBX.
Okay.
It's a pro shares inverse 10-year and 20-year U.S. Treasury yield. So basically, when the debt market sells off, the Treasury yields go up.
Right.
Therefore, TBF and TBX will also skyrocket. In fact, it's actually up 12% on the 20-year inverse TBX.
Yeah, it's up 12 points
this year.
today.
Yeah, because obviously the yield went from like 0.75% to right now it's at like 1.54. Now the thing is, the Federal Reserve and the central banks are buying up all the bonds to suppress the long-term debt. So that's going to be that's going to affect it negatively. However, the whole point of buying the inverse bond ETF is to protect yourself so that when this thing does collapse, the debt bubble collapses, your position is hedged completely, essentially.
But it's a good way to
pay dividends too.
Yeah, it's a good way to make massive short-term capital as well. Because if you short that position with a put, and it actually does happen, then that should skyrocket, right?
Yeah. Well, no, this is an inverse, so you would probably buy a call on that. But in this case, I would not buy options on it, even though you can.
Okay.
But the thing is, they only offer it for 6 months, and that's not enough time because you don't actually know when the debt bubble is going to burst. You just know it's going to happen, and it's going to happen fast and quick.
Yep.
So in that case, I'm probably just going to hold. I'm actually thinking by the end of this year, if that's when I'm going to sell I'm assuming that's when I'm probably going to sell my cryptocurrencies, depending on how the movement of Bitcoin, like what the chart pattern looks like. I'll probably actually put like a third of all my money that I made into that TBX.
Interesting.
Because I know the yield's going to eventually go up to 5% and then beyond, and then debt bubble collapses. So.
Well, I think everything's going to coincide. I think that we're going to have is the precursor to what I call the crypto singularity event. And
right.
I never hear really anybody talking about this except for Mo Dong, who is the CEO of Celer, CELR, which is a layer 2 protocol, Celer Finance, layer 2 finance. They have a blockchain that's pretty badass. It's very undervalued right now. But
yeah, you told me about it the last time I was on your show.
Yeah, and he basically said the same thing that I've been saying is, why the hell are Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash talking about market share when the user adoption of their blockchains is less than a third-rate game in the U.S. App market? And he's got a great point.
Wait, the U.S. what market?
The U.S. gaming app market, a third-rate game.
Oh, gaming app.
Yeah, a third-rate gaming app on your iPhone or Android. And basically, your user adoption in DeFi is very, very low. And so he's saying why
it's still too new and complicated for people, though. That's probably why.
Well, it is. But here's the thing: is you need a forced transgression. So you need people to be pushed into it really, really fast. And the way that happens is when you have a spark. That spark could be a loss of faith and confidence within economic markets. So when we have this global transition, this economic collapse, the move of the world reserve currency, that's what this is going to be, everything's going to transition over to a digital base, a blockchain. This is going to be the precursor to the adoptability event, the what I call the singularity event. All right? And so you're going to see $100 trillion market cap start to decline. And as people pull their money out, you're going to see a double whammy. You're going to see crypto in the market drop like this, and you're going to see about a week later crypto go like this. And then you're going to have probably a 60-40, 70-30 market share at that point. Yes, I'm telling you, you'll have a $10 trillion to $20 trillion crypto market at that point.
Yeah, in fact, I'm expecting that to happen by the end of this year.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen by the end of the year. But it's going to coincide directly with an economic collapse.
Yeah, that's the part I'm not sure about because, I mean...
It has to.
The hard part is everything's being manipulated. Yeah, everything's being manipulated by the people at the top so they can basically do whatever they want.
But they ask yourself, why is it being manipulated?
Because they want to introduce... I mean, Greg says he thinks the digital dollar is their main objective. I just know they want to get rid of like the paper dollar and introduce a digital cryptocurrency-based dollar.
I like Greg a little bit. He's an Alex Jones guy. I'm not big on Alex Jones.
That's fine.
There's a few things that I've heard him say that he's very mainstream. He's a mainstream trader, right? In the sense is that. I every time I listen to him, he's a mainstream guy. In the sense is that he can't extrapolate complex ideas beyond what the mainstream thinks that they are. So when he says market manipulation, he thinks it's just primarily for greed. These people are just greedy, want to make money. That's market manipulation to him. Market manipulation that's occurring right now is happening for a very specific reason. The reason is to suppress inflation, the indicators of inflation, to pump up the bubble for a massive collapse. The collapse has to be globally impactful, 2007, 2008 type of collapse. When that
much worse than that.
That's right. That was only like a 15%, 17% decline. What we're seeing now, Michael Burry and a few other people are calling for anywhere from a 30 to an 80% market decrease.
Wow.
Market correction.
The irony of that is that's how far down Bitcoin crashes usually after it has its hyper pump.
That's right.
Crashes 80-90%.
But you're not going to see that either. You're not going to see that 80%, 85% crash anymore with Bitcoin, because that was only with retail investors investing in it. Now you have institutional investors which hold a majority stake within Bitcoin, so it's very rare that you're going to see that 80% decline. You might see a 15 to 20% correction, but you'll never see a 50 to 80% decline of Bitcoin ever again. That's why they're buying in now.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either, because, I don't know, do you think they could trick the retail investors into buying all the crypto and then crash the whole thing 80%, 70%?
Yeah, but guess what crypto investors are going to do?
Robbing what's left of the slave class.
But if you did that, what would crypto investors do? Hold on to dear life. They would buy more. Yeah. I mean, that's all they're going to do is just buy more. That's it.
No, I mean, like, what I'm saying is, like, they're going to, like, the way they manipulate precious metals, they'll just do the same thing with Bitcoin, and then they'll use their, government powers, they'll use their mass media to, like, make people fearful, and then they'll, people just start dumping their crypto.
Here's the problem with them controlling everything. Is if Wall Street controls all cryptocurrency, nobody will use it.
Unless they're forced to. Right.
Well, here's the thing. No, because guess what? All it takes is someone out there to go create their own decentralized blockchain, Solana, for instance, and everybody goes there. Because it's not regulated, it's distributed, it's decentralized, it's cheap, transactions are low, and everybody just leaves Bitcoin. If they see that level of manipulation, they will not use it. So what you're going to see, in my opinion, is when this market collapse happens, Junson, the reason for the market collapse is a transference of wealth. They're pulling the market capital out of the global GDP, of the financial markets, the 120 trillion or whatever that's in the financial markets, and they're taking a certain percentage of that and they're going to dump it into cryptocurrencies as a new stable investment opportunity. At that same time, retail investors are going to flock there.
Right, because eventually they're going to hear it from, I guess, their mainstream news sources too. Like, hey, big XYZ rich company is now buying crypto because of the economic collapse. And people are like, maybe I should buy it too.
That's right. And so here's the thing, though, is when that does happen, okay, you got to look at the market right now. It's a $1.3 trillion market.
For cryptocurrency.
For cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's at 1.8, I think, actually.
Okay, 1.8 trillion. Now, out of that 1.8 trillion, okay, now think about this. If the world GDP is 120 trillion and cryptocurrency is at 1.8 trillion, what percentage of the world GDP is invested in cryptocurrency?
1.8 divided by 120. We're talking about
1.25, 1.3%.
I was gonna say 2% or 1%.
Well, no, it's 120, so it's 120 trillion. So it's 1.8 trillion divided by 120. So 1.8 divided by 120. So you're looking at about 1.25, 1.33, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
It would actually be less than 2%.
So
right?
less than 2% of the world capital is invested in cryptocurrency. So think about what happens when that transition comes.
Yeah, money's gotta go somewhere.
You now have a new 1%.
Hey, can I digress?
Yeah, dude, go ahead.
Huh?
The fundraiser for the Thibodeauxs.
The Thibodeauxs. We're going to talk about that here right towards the end here. Yep.
Well, we raised all the money.
We did. Yeah. So we had an amazing, one of our viewers, an amazing human being. I didn't get permission to use his name. He put a comment on there. He went and donated a massive amount of money to go ahead and close the $5,000 out. It is still open. You are still able to donate. So if you guys want to go beyond our goal, feel free. You can still go ahead and donate. But yeah, we hit the goal a little while ago today. The $5,000 goal for the Thibodeauxs.
Somebody said something, so I popped into it just to see where it was at, and man, that's freaking awesome, dude. That really is. That warms my heart. Not to digress from this, but that's freaking awesome.
For Junson that doesn't know, is we're doing a fundraiser for a family of 8 that's on our platform that is going through some things from COVID and the XL pipeline going down and all these things. It's just been really hard for them. And so we decided to go ahead and raise $5,000 for them. And we're at about $1,000 earlier today, and someone decided to go ahead and just basically fund the whole thing, which was just absolutely awesome.
Oh.
Matt and Tara from Florida, man.
Yep. There it is.
Generous.
Yep, Matt and Tara out in Florida. So absolutely awesome. Thank you so much to them. They are just amazing people.
Really, really is.
Such kind hearts.
That's freaking awesome, dude. That really is. I was having a shitty day, so that just made my day.
Aw.
Yeah.
It did. So, sorry to digress.
And if anybody wants to go ahead and still invest in that, they can go ahead and find the link up. It is right underneath Junson's information, right there in the description box. And we'll go ahead and just show this. And
I hope they know.
They do. I told them earlier they were ecstatic. And so, give everybody an idea. This was to help support the Thibodeauxs. The $5,000 goal has been met, 100% funded, but it is still open. It's open for another 19 days. I'm going to go ahead and get this taken care of, get the help over to them here in the next few days once all this stuff clears. So, absolutely, this is just amazing, and the link is in the link box if you guys do want to go ahead and try to get some more funds in there to help them out. It's him and his wife and their 6 children. And so
yeah, he's got a big family.
Yeah, they're probably listening tonight, and just much love and respect to them. They're awesome human beings and very big fans, and very, very grateful for everything that we've helped them out with. So very happy to help them out as well. But it's
that's awesome though.
It is, and talking about everything that we're talking about is these are the types of people that hopefully do not get left behind, because they're very well informed, and the thing that they're well informed about is understanding what's about to happen. And whether we're speculating or we're 90% accurate or 60% accurate, even 20% accurate, you're not surprised when it happens. And that's the thing, is when you're not surprised what happens, you're more prepared for what can come, right?
Yeah.
And if we all know,
sleep better at night at least.
Yeah, and if we all know that something financially is about to occur, then it's just best to be prepared.
Oh yeah, or at least in our case, we take positions against the market or whatever it is that we're preparing for.
Yep.
So that way, we profit off of it, and then we buy the bottom.
Yeah, and buy the bottom, and that's one of the things is, we run a crypto mastermind on the platform, and we basically talk about crypto. We help everybody understand crypto. Being trained as an institutional trader, I show people how to trade. And going through all this is this week we're going to be talking about is when do you take profit? When do you remove your position? How do you remove your position? These types of things. And basically what we're going to say is we're going to tell everybody that once you get to that top, once you get to that end of that cycle, or maybe not. Here's the thing, is there is speculation in the cycle, is if Bitcoin continues its 4-year cycle, naturally, we should see some type of correction around September, October timeframe.
Yeah.
The difference this time, though, is that you have institutional investors that pump billions into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that
Definitely
makes a
depends.
difference.
Yeah, tens of billions, probably hundreds of billions, and I'm pretty sure central banks are also buying up crypto as well.
I agree.
And not telling anyone, of course.
And so what you're going to see is that correction is not going to be much of a correction. I think what's going to happen is that many people are going to remove their position around September, October timeframe.
Yeah.
And it's just going to get bought up again. And that we'll probably see 400,000, 500,000 Bitcoin this year, potentially.
Yeah, because my original April 2019 prediction video for this time around would have been said 500,000 for Bitcoin. But I still think it's actually going to go beyond that 1 to 3 million. But I'm not sure about. But if it does do that, it may not actually occur this year. I'll have to wait till next year because you're going to need a lot of time for it.
So it would be a 10x from the current price for everybody to understand that. So a 10x on the current price is a $10 trillion market cap. Now, what I was just saying is that when this economic collapse happens, you're going to see a transition where there could be a 60-40 or a 70-30. A 30% transition would mean a $30 trillion market cap for cryptocurrencies in a very short time frame.
Yeah.
Now, if that did happen, you would most likely see a $15 trillion Bitcoin. That's very close to a 10x on its current price.
Yep.
That'd be a $750,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean for ETH? What does that mean for everything else?
It should go up as well. It's going to actually skyrocket just as much, maybe more, depending on the crypto. Because Bitcoin, crypto is always a rising tide, like it floats all boats. So Bitcoin's skyrocketing, so is everything else. That's why we're all invested in the other alternative coins.
Well, I explained this very well a few episodes ago. Is the question that was posed to me is, why is it when Bitcoin drops, everything is connected to it and everything else drops along with Bitcoin? And there's only certain coins that don't drop, and you can see this in the sense of what moves together. And the reason this is because of robobot and automated traders. Is certain institutions, hedge funds, institutional investors, even just regular traders, they hold a certain position. And so majority of them are going to hold like a 75 or 50% position on Bitcoin, maybe a 20% position on Ethereum, and then a diversified position on a series of altcoins. When you have a drop of Bitcoin about 3%, that triggers a liquidation alert on these robobot traders, and they begin turning all the assets in that fund to cash. So when Bitcoin drops 3%, you see everything else that can have major price fluctuations drop 5, 6%. Ethereum now drops about 5 to 6% for a 3% drop in Bitcoin. And then you'll have massive fluctuations, 15 to 20% with all your altcoins. This is exactly from what I'm talking about, is these are the auto traders, basically auto funds, and these are held by major institutions, insurance agencies, so forth, that hold these assets in these automated AI type funds to where when a certain curve is hit or a certain point is seen, that if the cash to stock ratio is hit, they start liquidating those assets to basically hedge their position. And this is why when you see that major drop in Bitcoin, everything else starts falling as well.
Yeah, because I've always observed that over, all these years. Just never understood what caused it. I just knew that was correlated, essentially. Yep. And I just trade accordingly based on that.
And so anybody can trigger that. So if you wanted to suppress an altcoin, for instance, if you wanted to suppress Ether, all you do is drop Bitcoin.
Yeah, which is kind of hard because Bitcoin is very expensive right now. So you have to use a lot of money.
$1 million in Bitcoin will make the market drop about 1% to 2%. I know it seems crazy, but it'll produce the indicators. Yeah, if you go look at a lot of the big drops, they all start with about $1 million, $2 million drop.
That's it? Because the trading volume for like Bitcoin every day is like 10, 20, 30 billion.
Go look at like the 5-minute, 10-minute candles that start to initiate the drops. They're about $1 million drop. And the $1 million drop would be middle of the curve where there's no support and resistance lines.
Yeah.
Which and when you have a character of manipulation that's been done for the last week, like kind of what we've been happening. Yesterday when it hit 56,000, what happened? Boom! That was $1 million drop. But if you calculate the actual liquidation, it's about $1 billion to $2 billion liquidation. A lot of the liquidations that we saw with Bitcoin when it was being manipulated were $5 billion drops within an hour. Now, here's the thing. Are people liquidating $5 billion of Bitcoin? No. Institutional investors aren't, or not, retail investors aren't. What that is those auto traders basically liquidating those funds because of a more than 3% drop in price. They have them set up to the standards of stocks, ETFs, and securities, which they're not compensating for volatility.
So when Bitcoin bounced back, how much money does it take for it to trigger a bounce back upwards?
Well,
is it still $1 million to $2 million, or?
Well, you can slowly see it retrace and come back up, and you can go into each candle and you can look at the price value of each candle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think you're using TradingView to.
Yeah, you can use TradingView to do that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because TradingView is free, so I have my account there. So. All right. Well, I got more homework to do, but I'll probably wait for tomorrow.
But I'm telling you, I think the Bitcoin manipulation is over. I think that we're going to see probably a good run up to about 65,000 of Bitcoin before we see a really big retracement. Probably the retracement down to 59.60. And I think ETH in the meantime is probably going to run up to about 25, 26 in the next few days.
That's a pretty big jump. Like $2,500 and $2,600 per Ether.
That's not that big of a jump. That's a $600 jump right now. It's a massive market cap, but people want to get in before EIP 1559. They want to get in before these hard fork events and everything that's coming up. And I think that Cardano, you notice Cardano didn't do what everybody expected?
I don't know. What was everyone expecting? Because I knew it went way up, and then now it's kind of in the consolidation.
That's right. Everybody was expecting Cardano to skyrocket when the Merry Hard Fork happened, but it didn't. Now, their full decentralization of their blockchain happens on March 31st, but I think what actually happened is the whales wanted to suppress Cardano during the Bitcoin manipulation. One of the reasons for that was to suppress Cardano because of Ether. Now, you got to remember, a lot of these major pools that are mining Bitcoin are also ETH pools. So they have everything to lose if Cardano took over the second market cap position over Ethereum, which was set to happen, but it didn't.
Yeah. In fact, I think Cardano's still number 4. I mean, I have to check CoinMarketCap.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4. I think BNB just moved back up to number 3. But yeah, so a lot of stuff's happening, guys. There's a lot of interesting things happening in the world financially, and this is why it's critically important to understand what these signs are, how to know where these signs are happening, how to look at the political, the geopolitical, the global narrative to see how this is being played out, to understand truly what is happening in the world and where things are headed. Thank you, Junson, for joining us tonight, my friend. You are absolutely awesome. We're going to have you on more often. I think that you and I are going to be doing a financial and crypto video here very shortly on the crypto channel as well. So we'll let people know when that happens.
About that.
Yeah, we're supposed to be doing that here. Probably we'll try to get on there next week. We'll do a live and just do it. THETA coin, everybody's saying THETA. I'm telling you, THETA is going to $20. So that's going to be about a 4x of what it is right now. And for all those people who are hodling THETA, you're awesome. I can't even find a place to buy it. I can't get on Binance. But other than that, if you guys do want to support us, go ahead and go over to socialredpill.com, www.socialredpill.com. There are free access there. You just hit choose a plan and go pick the free one. If you are able to support us, there are subscription packages available, as well as if you're looking to get into that crypto mastermind, it is listed in there and the packages, and you can find it there. And if you can go ahead and head on over to that PayPal and support the Thibodeauxs, that link is linked up. Junson is linked up as well if you want to go ahead and follow him on Twitter and Trovo, and I believe his your other link is there as well.
Yeah, I'm also on the Redpill social there too.
You are.
Yeah, I think it should still be the same username on there.
Yep, Junson Chan. He's also on the social Redpill, so please go ahead and follow him there. And if you guys are looking to get into crypto, just send me a message and I'll help you guys out the best we can. Much love and respect. I know this was more of a financial show tonight, but I think it's critical to understand these things with everything that's coming about. And so I hope everybody had a great night. You guys take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Later, everyone.